and hot. Sunday, 93 with a low of 67. Mostly sunny and hot. Monday, 92, 67, rather cloudy, warm, 8 p.m. thunderstorm. And then next Tuesday, 91 with a low of 67. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. So it looks like it's got a hot week in store. The hottest week of the year thus far. Today in history. Today is Wednesday, May the 9th, the 129th day of 2018. There are 236 days left. Depicted a snake cut into 8 pieces, each section representing a part of the American colonies. The caption read, "Join or Die." In 1814, the Jane Austen novel, Marshfield Park, was first published in London. That's Mansfield Park, of course. In 1914, President Woodrow Wilson, acting on a joint congressional resolution, signed a proclamation designating the second Sunday in May as Mother's Day. In 1918, CBS newsman Mike Wallace was born Myron Lee Wallace in Brookline, Mass. In 1936, Italy annexed Ethiopia. In 1945, World War II in Europe at the end, Soviet forces liberated Czechoslovakia from Nazi occupation. U.S. officials announced that a midnight entertainment curfew was being lifted immediately. In 1961, in a speech to the National Association of Broadcasters, Federal Communications Commission Chairman Newton N. Minow decried the majority of television programming as a vast wasteland.
Hear, hear.
In 1994, South Africa's newly elected parliament chose Nelson Mandela to be the country's first black president. In 2012, President Barack Obama declared his unequivocal support for same-sex marriage in a historic announcement that came 3 days after Vice President Joe Biden spoke in favor of such unions on NBC's Meet the Press. Birthday, actor Albert Finney is 82. Actress turned politician Glenda Jackson is 82. Musician Sonny Curtis, Buddy Holly and the Crickets is 81. Actress Candice Bergen, 72. Pop singer Clint Holmes, 72. Actor Anthony Higgins, 71. Singer Billy Joel, 69. Blues singer musician Bob Margolin is 69. Actress Allie Mills is 67. Amy Hill, 65. And John Corbett's 57.
Public safety, Cumberland County arrest. Angela Tamika Davis, 34, who is homeless, was charged Tuesday with assault causing physical injury to a detention center employee by biting Sergeant Zetha Smith's hand and breaking the skin. I hope she got her rabies shots. Bail was set at $2,500. Christina Marie Johnson, 39, of the 21 block of Birchcrest Drive, was charged Tuesday with obtaining property by false pretense, misdemeanor larceny, and misdemeanor possession of stolen property. Bail was set at $3,500. Break-in, Snow Hill Road, reported at 2:39 p.m. Sunday. Tools taken. Hope Mills, Daniel Boone Lane, reported at 1:09 p.m. Sunday. Electronics and metal safe taken. Hope Mills, Clifton Drive, reported at 12:15 p.m. Sunday. Sleeping bags and storage bags taken. Vehicle break-in, Doc Bennett Road, reported at 12:20 a.m. Credit, debit cards, prescription drugs, identification cards, stones, jewelry, bag of baby clothes, and iPhone were taken. Well, gee, maybe these people are doing their Christmas shoplifting early, aren't they? Need to know. Blood drives. The Cape Fear Valley Blood Donor Center has several blood drives scheduled this week. Donors may go by the center on Village Drive, Suite 150. It is also open the third Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. All blood types are needed. However, the center has an urgent need for type O. You may call 615-5433. Here are some of the upcoming blood drives. Thursday, Cape Fear Valley System Patient Financial Services, 227 Fountainhead Lane, 8 to 10 a.m. Highsmith Rainey Specialty Hospital, 150 Robeson Street, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Friday, Cape Fear Valley Health System, 16380 Owen Drive, 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. USO of North Carolina Military Culture Workshop. The USO of North Carolina and the North Carolina Arts Council will present a free workshop for local artists and other members of the arts community on military culture basics and building programs to support military service members, families, and veterans. The workshop will be May 19 from 10 a.m. to noon at the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, 301 Hay Street. Register at fayeartstraining.eventbrite.com. DIY Block Party. Power Up North Carolina will host a DIY block party on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Smith Recreation Center, 1520 Slater Avenue. The event will include interactive workshops for residents to learn how to do improvements on their homes, information about ways people can weatherize their homes and lower their energy bills, giveaways, and free food and music. For more information, call 910-588-5710. And here is the Livewire Observer staff telling us about 3 grocers in Fayetteville that carry buffalo meat. Is there anywhere in the Fayetteville area where you can buy buffalo meat for cooking and eating? I believe they do mean bison, but never mind. Sprouts Farmers Market, Publix, and Harris Teeter are 3 supermarkets that currently carry ground bison in Fayetteville. I guess if they thought they called it bison to begin with, nobody would know what they were talking about. Could it be? Sprouts, it's at 600-698 Cordial Loop in Freedom Town Center. Publix is located at Tallywood Shopping Center at 3114 Rayford Road. Harris Teeter has 2 locations: Highland Center, 2800 Rayford Road, and 3050 Traymore Village Drive. Question: who can repair stained glass in this area? From TJ. Oh, the first one about the bison meat was from Michael Hooch. Answer: we found a couple that, while not located in Fayetteville, do serve this area. They are Payne's Stained Glass of Pittsboro, 919-545-3008, and the Glassman of Fayetteville. That's a double Z, Glazz man, 919-637-2242. If we hear of any others, we will pass those along as well. Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest in consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com or at 486-3516.
McNeil to face Hudson for House seat. Frank McNeil, a former mayor of the Moore County town of Aberdeen, will face Republican incumbent Richard Hudson in November for the 8th Congressional District seat after defeating 2 challengers in the Democratic primary. We laid a good groundwork, said McNeil, 62, and president of the Aberdeen-based McNeil Oil and Propane, in an off-year election where turnout in the district was less than 11%. He dominated the field with 6,411 votes. That was good for more than 58% of the votes. McNeil won over Mark Teagle, 40, a bank auditing executive and civil and women's rights activist. and Scott Huffman, 56, a businessman and Navy veteran. Teagle finished with 2,420 votes, or nearly 22%. Huffman placed third with 2,175, or 19.76%. Teagle and Huffman, both from the Charlotte area, have never held elective office. McNeil last held elected office about 15 years ago, but along with 2 terms as mayor of Aberdeen, his public service record touts experience on the Aberdeen City Council and the Moore County School Board. I think local government service made a big difference with the people. One thing about local government, it tends to get things done, McNeil said from his Aberdeen home, where he followed the election results with his family and campaign staff. District spans from parts of Fayetteville to the outskirts of Charlotte. Fort Bragg, Northern Cumberland County, and Hoke and Moore counties also fall in the district.
Here is a need to know. Oops. No, here's Murchison Road Clinic to expand. Sorry. Wade Family Medical Center downtown is expected to open by early next year. By Michael Fuchs. If things go as scheduled, Wade Family Medical Center downtown will be moving into a new $2.15 million clinic on Murchison Road late this year or early 2019. Well, let's see. It's downtown on Murchison Road. I wonder just whereabouts. A groundbreaking was held April 17 at the site of the new facility at 2313 Murchison Road. That's roughly a block from the current Wade Family Medical Center downtown clinic on the 2400 block of Murchison Road. They're doing all the foundation work now. It's just a sight to behold, said Margaret Covington, the CEO of Stedman Wade Health Services Incorporated. They're really starting to get this project off the ground. Collins and Gaylon, the general contractors of Greensboro, has been contracted to do the work according to the City of Fayetteville Inspection Department's building permit report. Plans call for the center to open by February 2019, she said, but we're pushing for December 2018. The new facility will offer additional services for patients. Right there where we are now, she said, we don't have dental. We'll have a medical and dental in the new building. We'll also have space and behavior health. The new clinic is going up because of the need for additional space. The need is so great in that area, she said. We need more space to see all the patients through. Because the clinic will be expanding, the new facility will offer 4 medical providers: a dentist, hygienist, licensed social worker, Covington said presently. Wade Family Center can handle only 2 medical providers. In other words, they're going to open a clinic that's a dental clinic, also a social worker. Why on earth aren't they, what are they calling it? Health services. Okay. The driving force is the community need, she said. When you get federal dollars, they expect you to meet the need. Right there in that pocket, the Murchison Road corridor, is a great need for access to primary and comprehensive and medical care for the uninsured. The home offices for Stedman Wade Health Services is in Wade. Established in 1978, the corporation started doing business as Wade Family Medical Center and Stedman Family Dental Center. In the 2000s, the corporation operated a temporary satellite medical clinic on Cumberland Street until the Wade Medical Facility was contemplated. The existing downtown clinic began operation in October 2015. Covington estimated that probably 3,000 to 4,000 patients are registered. We're very excited about being able to bring this more access to health in Fayetteville, she said. Well, I did see some groundbreaking on Murchison Road. I'll have to go up that way today and see if I now know what it is. A clinic, but apparently not for medical needs. The new one, which I thought that's strange unless there's a misprint there.
Harris ousts Pillinger. Democrats pick McCready. Charlotte pastor Mark Harris ousted three-term incumbent 13,223 to 16,409 in a campaign that focused heavily on Christian faith and loyalty to President Donald Trump. A third candidate, Eastover's Clarence Goins Jr., received 1,862 votes. A Republican has held the 9th congressional district since 1963, but political pundits have said it is no longer considered safely in the red. The district spans 8 districts, or 8 counties, from South Charlotte to parts of Cumberland and Bladen counties. Tuesday's election results are likely to worry the GOP. Democratic turnout was strong in a district that leans Republican. McCready's 37,823 votes were more than the entire Republican field. McCready is a former Marine turned solar power entrepreneur who is running for office for the first time. Well funded with more than $1 million in his campaign coffers as of April, McCready easily defeated Cano, who finished with 7,837 votes. Democrats collected more than 45,000 votes. Harris and McCready will be joined on the November ballot by Libertarian candidate Jeff Scott. Harris has said that he's the candidate who will help President Trump drain the swamp. He said his campaign is building a bipartisan coalition that includes unaffiliated and Republican voters. After results were in, Republican leaders praised Harris while thanking Pittenger for his efforts in the House since 2013. I congratulate Mark Harris for his primary election victory tonight. His conservative values and his strong faith make him a great fit for this district. He has my support and look forward to working with him to ensure we keep the district red in November, said Steve Strivers, chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee. I also thank Congressman Robert Pittenger for his tireless advocacy on behalf of North Carolina's 9th District. I wish him and his family the best of luck in their future endeavors. McCready, meanwhile, looked ahead to the November election. Tonight we celebrate, tomorrow we get back to work. I'm so honored to be your nominee. On to November, he said.
CA chemical found in Robeson Well. It was such a surprise. You realize how long the people that lead us have known about this poison? Around 15 years at least. Chemours tells state officials it plans to spend $100 million to reduce Gen X air emissions. I wonder when they are going to initiate that plan. A suspected carcinogen that hasn't been detected in years has been detected in a Robeson County private well at levels well above the federal guidelines, county officials said yesterday. Tests of the well at a residence between the Chemours plant and St. Paul's showed PFOA at levels more than, only 20 times the Environmental Protection Agency's drinking water health advisory. PFOA, also known as C8, has been shown to cause tumors in animals and has a suggestive risk for cancer, according to the EPA. Also Tuesday, the State Department of Environmental Quality said that Chemours has agreed. We have one of those. We do have an Department of Environmental Quality. Well, I wonder what they do with their time. Said that Chemours has agreed to take steps that the company says will nearly eliminate air emissions of Gen X, a similar compound. Animal studies have been linked to Gen X in testicular, pancreatic, and liver cancer, but it is not known whether those effects are the same in humans. State officials have been investigating Chemours since June. Wow, way back then, when news broke that researchers had found Gen X in the Cape Fear River downstream from the company's Fayetteville Works plant in Bladen County. Gen X has since been found in hundreds of private wells around the plant, which is off North Carolina 87 near the Cumberland County line. The Robeson County line is several miles from the plant. DuPont, which previously operated the plant, agreed in 2009 to stop using C8. The company was facing a class action lawsuit from thousands of people in Ohio and West Virginia related to its discharge of the chemical into the Ohio River, which happens to go into the Mississippi River and all the way down to the ocean. DuPont Chemours, which was founded as a spin-off company. Yeah, I'd sell my plant too if I was about to be sued for everything I had. In 2015, agreed last year to settle about 3,500 lawsuits, with each company agreeing to pay $335.35 million and up to $25 million each year for the next 5 years for potential later claims. The lawsuits had challenged that DuPont knew C8 was dangerous. Of course they knew it, but failed to prevent it from poisoning the water supply. Paying money is too good for them. After DuPont agreed to stop using C8, it replaced it with Gen X, which was just as bad. Chemours continues to manufacture Gen X, but of course, wouldn't it be nice to trace the money and to what politicians are being paid? Rub your fingers together, and if you're a big company like that, you can make money. The Robeson County test that found the C8 in a private well also detected Gen X at 1,530 parts per trillion, according to a statement released by County Health Director Bill Smith. The statement said tests also showed a related compound, PFOS, at the level of 209 parts per trillion. Isn't it surprising that our State Department Environmental Quality seemingly, gee, I wonder where they learned about this tragedy. I guess from the newspaper. It'd be nice to know how many of them have been paid off. State officials believe that contamination around the plant is related to air emissions. On April 6th, the Department of Environmental Quality's Division of Air Quality issued a 60-day notice of intent to modify the Chemours air quality permit. The division required the company show that it was complying with the current terms of its permit. State officials also made Chemours show in writing by April 27 that emissions of Gen X compounds from the plant under current and alternate conditions do not and will not cause or contribute to violations of the groundwater rules. The company relied on that date, saying that it planned to spend more than $100 million on equipment. The specialized equipment is expected to reduce Gen X emissions by 99% within 18 to 24 months. All right, well, that takes us up to nearly 20 years. Chemours said change it is making at the plant are expected to reduce Gen X air emissions by 40% this month and 70% by October. I'll tell you what. Your tax dollars at work. It's how your government takes care of you.
Of course, we're doing a lot of political articles this morning after the election yesterday. Incumbent Clark prevails in North Carolina Senate 21. State Senator Ben Clark handily defeated challenger Naveed Aziz in the State Senate District 21 Democratic primary. An intense battle in which each attacked the other's character. Aziz had a final jab for Clark as she conceded the race. I congratulate Senator Clark, and I hope he enjoys living with his father in Hope County, Aziz said. The Aziz camp had accused Clark of moving out of District 21 away from a home that Clark says he has shared with his parents since 2002. Clark could not be reached for comment Tuesday night. In the email, his supporters, I commend my opponent, Dr. Naveed Aziz, for her willingness to step up and serve, Clark said. As I'm sure she will attest, running for public office is one of the most difficult things you'll ever do in your life. But she put herself out there because she wanted to serve, and she should be commended for that.
Okay, ALE agents arrest 25 in a crackdown. Okay. The time is probably almost ready for the break. Ralph. A crackdown on illegal alcohol and drugs across the state over the weekend resulted in the arrest of 25 people in Cumberland County on a total of 37 charges, according a North Carolina alcohol law enforcement spokesman. So ALE stands for Alcohol Law Enforcement. 20 of the local charges involved alcohol, 10 were drug-related, 3 guns were seized, and 3 unspecified felony charges were filed, said Derwin Brayboy, Assistant Special Assistant in charge of the 9-county district. That includes Cumberland County. One business was cited for a violation, but the name was not available. We visited multiple establishments, primarily in Fayetteville. Such a civil town. Brayboy said, Cumberland County and Fayetteville have more alcohol license establishments than the other 8 counties combined, he said. Those counties are Hoke, Scotland, Robeson, Bladen, Moore, Lee, and Richmond. Agents specifically went to the Aqua Lounge and nightclub in Hope Mills, he said, where they found an unidentified person with a concealed handgun and a rifle outside the club. No other information on the incident was available. Statewide, 132 people were arrested on a total of 209 charges that are alcoholic beverage-related charges, 84 drug-related charges, and 12 felonies, including 2 an ALE release. 11 firearms and 2 vehicles were seized, the relief said. And you want to do the time? Or the break?
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep us in mind. If you have any questions or comments, call us at 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson, and we are proud to serve you today. And don't forget, big day coming up Saturday, May the 12th. That's this Saturday at Gatesford Golf and Country Club, our 8th annual fundraising event. If it wasn't for this fundraising event, you would not be hearing us. You would not have a receiver. So we need your help. Tell everyone you know that plays golf. They can just come to the club and sign up. That's our $250 a team or $65 a player. That's a $400 value. You went to Gates 4 and played around the golf on Saturday and had lunch and dinner and all the beverages you can drink. It would cost you over $100. And you can get it for only $65 a player or $250 a team. That's this Saturday, May 12th. We'll come out and register at 11. Have lunch, Panera Bread, 12 o'clock tee off. Dinner to follow around 4 to 5 p.m. So how can you help? Also, the winning team will get $500 cash. That's $500 cash to the winning team. Second place team will get a equivalent $250 Gates Ford golf certificate for a foursome. There'll be a new car given away on 2 different holes. That's right, a brand new car for the first hole-in-one on 2 different holes. So 2 people could drive out of there in a brand new car. Also a special ladies division. Also men's closest to the pin and long drive. So get your friends and get out there. And I bet you have not got us a door prize yet, have you? All you got to do is go to anywhere you trade and ask that person to give you a door prize for our fundraiser. They'll do it. All you got to do is ask. Like if you have your car service, tell them you need a free oil change certificate. That always goes off well. This is for door prizes. So help us, help you.
Here's local and state. Cumberland schools to be open on May 16. Cumberland County schools will remain open May 16 when thousands of teachers from around the state are expected to march in Raleigh. But, said Interim Superintendent Tim Kinlaw, that could change. As of Tuesday afternoon, 170 teachers out of about 3,500 in Cumberland County had requested to be off for the North Carolina Association of Educators rally on opening day of the General Assembly. The march to the Legislative Building, called Advocacy Day March for Students and Rally for Respect, is over issues of teacher pay and school funding. The Cumberland County Association of Educators is hoping that the county's 87 public schools will be closed May 16, but that would require greater numbers of absent instructors over the next couple of days. We'll look like the Lone Ranger if we don't turn out, Carol Stubbs said, and we're the 5th largest school system in the state. Stubbs, the president of the local association, was one of the speakers at a meeting Tuesday at the Educational Resource Center. About 19 people attended the meeting, which was meant to raise awareness and rally support from educators and staff. Tamika Kelly, the association's vice president, reported that at least 12 of the 150 systems statewide are going to be closed May 16. Those include Wake County, the state's largest school district. Roughly a quarter of the teachers employed there asked for the day off to participate in the rally. In our time, y'all, Kelly said. This is the time, right now. Get the word out. Are you going May 6th? Ken Law said Cumberland County has never had to cancel school because of a large number of absent teachers due to a rally. They can take personal leave as long as we have a substitute teacher available for them to take this week, he said. Instructors are required to apply for personal leave 5 days in advance. Currently, right now, we're okay, Ken Law said, referring to the number of needed substitutes to fill those absences. We're monitoring that number. We have a pretty large sub-force available to us as long as we feel like we can have school in a safe and orderly fashion. We'll be open. Jill Patrick has been teaching in Cumberland County Public Schools for 4 years, and she said she plans to attend the rally in Raleigh. Well, that's cute, rally in Raleigh. I think it's important for me because I've watched other people rally for things that have benefited me, she said, after Tuesday's meeting. I think it's time for me to stand up for a cause that I am passionate about. Michael Fooch can be reached at 910-486-3529.
3529.
I wonder what the best school district in Fayetteville is. I mean, like, is it a certain county or a certain town or what?
Chapel Hill.
Oh, of course, Chapel Hill.
It's right. Baxley in sheriff's race. Ennis W. Wright and Charlie Baxley will square off in November to determine who will be the next sheriff of Cumberland County. Wright, 58, the incumbent sheriff, won in a landslide over his two opponents, Jeff Marks and Denny Davis, on the Democratic ticket, while Baxley, 61, outdistanced the three other candidates, Carlton Sally, Victor Starling, and LaRue Wyndham, vying for the Republican nomination. In the Democratic primary, Wright finished with 13,000 votes, or 82.7%. According to complete but unofficial returns, Marks, 53, a former prison administrator, received only 1,890 votes, while Davis, a retired law enforcement officer, received 831 votes. On the GOP side, Baxley had 3,669 votes, or 54%, according to complete but unofficial returns. Sally finished second with 1,164 votes. Starling, a Fayetteville police officer, received 1,020 votes. And Wyndham, a former Cumberland County deputy, received 944 votes. I think this shows the citizens have confidence in me, Wright said as he watched the numbers posted on a screen at the Crown Complex. Baxley, a former federal police officer and Cumberland County deputy, said he and his campaign team would now focus on the November race. Now we're just going to have to get out our message, said Baxley, who also watched the returns come in at the Crown Ballroom. I just have to distinguish myself from him. Wright will be seeking to win the seat that was vacated 2 years ago by former Sheriff Moose Butler. Wright, Butler's chief deputy, was tapped by the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners to serve out the remainder of Butler's 4-year term. He's a 1978 graduate of Terry Sanford High and former Army drill sergeant. Wright said he doesn't have a strategy mapped out for his campaign, but said he would continue to do what he's been doing. Part of that is urging his deputies to treat residents with respect. You treat people like you want your family to be treated, Wright said. There's nothing we're going to change at the sheriff's office. Actually, his win puts him back in the same spot he held in 2014 when he squared off against Butler. I haven't stopped campaigning since 2014, Butler said. Baxley. Now I've got to get my name and message out there. Baxley has advocated hiring more deputies, stepping up patrols, increasing salaries, and putting more attention towards safety in the schools. Baxley has said he would like to see politics taken out of the department.
DeVere beats Donaldson in North Carolina 19 primary. Former Fayetteville City Councilman Kirk DeVere easily defeated Clarence Ed Donaldson in the Democratic primary for the District 19 state Senate seat. DeVere received 5,248 votes, or 62.6% of the vote, to 3,132 votes for Donaldson, complete, but unofficial returns from Tuesday's primary show. Huh. Okay. DeVere will face Republican Senator Wesley Meredith in the November general election. The Senate district covers Cumberland County except for Spring Lake and Fort Bragg. We saw good across district score today, DeVere said, after it became apparent that Donaldson couldn't catch him. I'm looking forward to November to have some of these opportunities to talk to the incumbent about issues. Donaldson's negative campaigning hurt him, much the same way it hurt former Mayor Matt Robertson, DeVere said. I think the voters showed they're tired of dissent, and they're ready for the decency and statesmanship. But of course, wouldn't that be nice if we could have it somewhere over the rainbow? Okay, here's one about a Robeson man that gets 9 years for robbery. A Robeson County man has been sentenced to 9 years in prison for robbing a confidential informant last year near Pembroke. He robbed a confidential informant. Okay. Aaron Cody Maynor, 28 of Pembroke, was sentenced Tuesday by U.S. District Judge Malcolm J. Howard. His prison term will be followed by 5 years of supervised release, according to a release from U.S. Attorney Robert J. Hingling, Jr. Maynor pleaded guilty January 8 to robbery and brandishing a firearm in connection with a crime of violence. A co-defendant, Vincent Locklear, was sentenced April 19 to 15 years, 4 months in prison on the same charges. A Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives confidential informant identified Locklear as a known armed drug trafficker in Robeson County in 2017 and set up a deal to buy narcotics from him. The confidential informants and Locklear set up a meeting for January 13 of this last year in which the confidential informant was supposed to buy a pistol, possibly other firearms, and receive additional narcotics, the release said. The ATF provided the informant with cash and other items ahead of the meeting. Locklear and the informant met at the Walmart in Pembroke. Locklear told the informant that he had a friend in the area who was trying to sell firearms and offered to introduce them. The two drove to a nearby address in the informant's car. When they arrived, Maynor and another person who was a minor approached the vehicle. Locklear told the informant that these were his friends and they had several firearms for sale. Locklear then pulled a .380 caliber from his waistband and pointed it at the confidential informant, telling him not to act stupid and to hand over the money. Maynor retrieved a pistol-grip shotgun and assisted in robbing the confidential informant. They took the informant's car keys, government money, and ATF property, and his wallet, and one of his shoes, and a necklace. After the robbery, Locklear and Maynor left. Agents followed them to Locklear's residence in Pembroke, where the two were arrested. Agents executed a search warrant at the residence and seized a pistol-grip shotgun, a .380 pistol, other firearms and ammunition, as well as the items that were taken from the confidential informant. Oh good, I guess he got his shoe back. The case was part of the project Safe Neighborhoods, a program that brings together law enforcement agencies and the communities they serve to reduce violent crime. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office assisted in the investigation. Okay. These small towns are something else, aren't they? The ones around Fayetteville?
McDuffie named permanent Spring Lake Police Chief. Spring Lake's permanent police chief is someone familiar with the job. Troy McDuffie, the former police chief who has been serving as the interim police chief since August 2017, returned to the department on a full-time basis as of May 1st. Town manager Daniel Gerald said in News's McDuffie, 54, has been serving as the interim chief since Charles Kimball left for a job in Killeen, Texas. McDuffie retired as chief of the Spring Lake Police Department in January 2017 after serving as chief for nearly 9 years. McDuffie has now more than 30 years of law enforcement service, is credited with rebuilding the embattled department and reinstating its policing powers. I've always cared about Spring Lake, the community, the department, what's best for the town. McDuffie said Tuesday, when asked to return, I felt like it was important that the department, the stability of the police department, to protect and serve the town of Spring Lake. I took all that into consideration and decided to come back and give them a few more years. McDuffie's retirement status with the state is now suspended, and he will again contribute to his pension as a full-time employee. Coming back full-time was not what McDuffie had planned, he said. I am a spiritual person, and I believe it was certainly part of God's will to have me back here, McDuffie said. If I'm in Spring Lake in the same capacity, no doubt, I'm here for good reason. The Spring Lake Police Department has 35 officers, including McDuffie, and operates on a budget of about $2.5 million. The town also announced that Jonathan Connor has been selected for the position of mayor. He was the lieutenant of operations, where he oversaw the majority of the functions in the department. He has been with the Spring Lake Police Department 7.5 years.
Man faces more firearms larceny charges. A Fayetteville man already facing more than 40 break-in, fraud, and firearms offenses was charged Tuesday with 11 more counts, according to arrest warrants. Brandon Michael Johnson, 18, of the 800 block of Roxy Avenue, is accused of breaking into a home on April 9, stealing a 12-gauge shotgun, a generator, 2 watches, 2 rings. Over the next week, Johnson sold the property at pawn shops. The latest charges include 7 counts of obtaining property by false pretense and 1 count each of larceny of a firearm, possessing a stolen firearm, larceny, and possessing stolen property. On April 27, Johnson was charged with 35 offenses relating to breaking into a neighbor's home on Roxy Avenue. Oh, nice guy. Stealing shotguns, rifles, and handguns, a generator, and prescription drugs. These charges included 14 counts of larceny of a firearm, 13 counts of possessing a stolen firearm, 2 counts of misdemeanor attempted breaking and entering, and 1 count each of breaking into a motor vehicle, breaking and entering, larceny, obtaining property by false pretense, selling and delivering controlled substance, and possessing stolen property. The stolen guns included a 410-gauge shotgun, a Remington 30-06, rifle, 2 12-gauge shotguns, a .22 caliber revolver, a .22 caliber bolt-action rifle, a Winchester, 243 caliber youth rifle, a Mossberg 12-gauge pump shotgun, a 20-gauge pump shotgun, 9mm semi-automatic handgun, 6mm rifle with scope, and a .30-30 rifle. On May 1st, Johnson and his mother, Christina Marine Johnson, 40, were charged with 2 counts each of obtaining property, false pretense, larceny, and possessing stolen property, 1 count each of second-degree burglary and conspiracy. The pair is accused of breaking into a home and stealing a Virginia Tech class ring and lawn equipment, then selling the property to pawn shops. Johnson's total bail now stands at $180,000. Gee, wouldn't you just love to bail them? I tell you what, a mother-daughter Here's another little bit of crime, which we just really can't get enough of here in Fayetteville. Surrounding territories. Rayford man was arrested on fraud warrants from multiple agencies, a Rayford Police Department news release said. Jerome Edward Faison, 56, of the 20 block of South Main Street, is charged with 15 counts of obtaining property by false pretense and 3 counts of worthless checks. Rayford police were tipped off Monday morning of a scam involving vehicle purchases. Investigators obtained information about the suspect, identified as Faison, and learned that he was going to be at an unidentified location in Rayford, according to the release. Officers went to the location and found Faison, who told them he was there to sell a vehicle for a friend, the release said. Officers found he was wanted in multiple jurisdictions on fraud charges involving vehicle transactions and arrested him, and his bail is $40,000. And my, doesn't it just go on and on? But this one about the son and mother, that's an interesting one. And next, let's see. Frankly, the crime's more interesting to me than who got in office. Here's Schneiderman's fall. A swift, shocking...
You want some water?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's got coffee. Oh, that's okay. Just pour it in with the coffee. Schneiderman's fall. A swift, shocking turn. Associated Press. If you're watching TV, you'll recognize these names. Less than 3 months ago, New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman went before the news cameras to announce a lawsuit accusing movie mogul Harvey Weinstein and his former studio of abusing and intimidating a multitude of women. Well, they didn't complain at the time. We have never seen anything as despicable as what we've seen here, Schneiderman declared. Now, in a stunning turn rife with seeming hypocrisy, Schneiderman's own career has imploded, collapsing just 3 hours after the 63-year-old Democrat was accused of choking, slapping, threatening, or otherwise abusing 4 women during intimate encounters. Love to know when these supposedly happened. The allegations, which Schneiderman contests, which led him to resign, emerged Monday in an article in the New Yorker, publication he hailed just last month for reporting on Weinstein and starting a critical national reckoning on sexual misconduct by powerful men who use their power over rather stupid women and don't complain till 10, 15, 20 years later. It was a dizzying fall for a politician who put himself at the fore of, thank you, the Me Too movement, and had cast himself as a defender of women ever since he worked in an abortion clinic at 17. Oh yeah, he's a really great guy, but you know, I suspect the women too. I suspect these spineless
Bail raised for 2 in infant abuse. Bail was increased Tuesday for the mother accused of trying to kill her child and the father who failed to seek medical care for the infant. The child's grandmother has also been charged. Citing the gravity of the circumstances, Judge Edward Pone raised bail for Amanda Frances Hughes, 31, to $550,000, and for Alfie Dion Campaign, 48, to $400,000. Both live on the 3500 block of Ashton Court in Fayetteville. Hughes was charged Monday in 1 count of attempted first-degree murder and 2 counts each of felony child abuse by intentional physical injury and felony child abuse by neglect. Campagna, also arrested Monday, was charged with 2 counts of child abuse by neglect. He is accused of knowing of the baby's injuries and failing to seek medical care. These are very serious allegations, District Attorney Billy West said after the hearings. Babies are the most helpless in our society. It's very disturbing. Hughes' mother, Mary Bagley Hughes, 63, of the 2300 block of Illinois Court in Fayetteville, was charged with 2 counts of child abuse by neglect, the same offense as Campagna. Her bail was set at just $10,000. She is scheduled to have a first appearance hearing today. On March 12th, Amanda Hughes tried to kill the baby, who was then 3 months old, by squeezing the back of the infant's head between her thumb and middle finger with as much force as possible. The child's injuries included fluid on the brain and a skull fracture. The Cumberland County Department of Social Services, upon learning of the incident, removed the child from the custody of Amanda Hughes, West said at his first appearance hearing. Custody was given to Campagna and Mary Hughes. Amanda Hughes was granted supervised visitation rights, West said. On April 23rd, Amanda Hughes was left alone with the child and intentionally caused a skull fracture, West said. The child was 5 months old. Arrest warrant said Amanda Hughes responded clearly to Pone's questions, saying she understood the charges against her and asked for a court-appointed lawyer. Hughes' eyes appeared swollen. Several times she looked into the small courtroom as if searching for someone. Campagna, his waist-long hair worn loose and wearing a jail-issued orange jumpsuit, said he understood the charges but had questions for Pone. If I ask for a court-appointed attorney, how long before I get one? Pone told him he would have one by that afternoon. Is there no way I can get out of jail? Campagna asked. If you can post a bond of $400,000. If convicted, Amanda Hughes could face a maximum of 63 years in prison.
Oh, is that enough, you think? For somebody who tries what? Was that twice she tried to kill the baby with her hands?
Yes.
Well, she should never be let go, but I don't know that jail's the right place for her. I would call her crazy as a, I don't know what. But here's Moore County's OK2 school bonds. Well, congratulations, Moore County. The small, tiny little suburb where I grew up always votes for the school bonds and the library and anything that has to do with education. They just almost always get a yes. Of course, you can't. The taxes are high there. Voters in Moore County overwhelmingly approved 2 bonds that will bolster education efforts in the county. A $103 million bond for Moore County schools passed with 13,665 votes, or about 79%. In favor of the bond, according to complete but unofficial returns, there were 3,536 votes, or about 21% opposed. Well, they don't want their taxes to go up. They don't, and you know, it is tough on old people to have their taxes go up all the time for schools. Their children are middle-aged. The bonds will be used to consolidate 4 existing primary and elementary schools in Southern Pines and Aberdeen into 2 new combined K-5 elementary schools and replace the existing Pinehurst Elementary School. In the second bond referendum, $20 million will support construction of a new state-of-the-art nursing education center at Sand Hills Community College. There were 13,160 votes, or about 77% in favor of the referendum, according to complete but unofficial results. There were 3,993 dissenting votes, or about 23%. I don't suppose we're interested in that, but it's always wonderful to see anywhere around here that will vote bonds for improvement in education. Not necessarily the building of new schools, but if they can't be kept running because they're 100 years old, that's a little different. Okay, what have we got here?
Moore Sheriff loses to Challenger. Moore County Sheriff Neil Godfrey lost to a Republican challenger in Tuesday night's primary. Complete but unofficial returns show Ronald Allen Fields won 6,583 votes to Godfrey's 5,121. Godfrey was appointed sheriff in 2013 after the retirement of Lane Carter. He won election in 2014. Fields is a Moore County native who retired as a sheriff's major in 2013. He was a deputy from 1983 to 1987 and a state trooper from 1987 to 2009. Fields also was a town board member and mayor in Carthage. Godfrey worked as a State Bureau of Investigation special agent in charge before joining the sheriff's office as chief deputy in 2002.
All right, let's see where we are here.
You got a minute.
Got a minute. Well, here's the story of this man, Major Donald G. Carr, was declared missing in action in Vietnam, July 1971. He looks like a movie star. He's so handsome. Decades later, he will be buried with full military honors on Friday at San Antonio National Cemetery in Texas. A former Fort Bragg soldier, long missing in Vietnam, will be buried in his native Texas later this week, officials said. The Defense Prisoner of War Missing in Action Accounting Agency announced that Major Donald T. Carr would be buried with full military honors at San Antonio National Cemetery. Carr, 32, of San Antonio, was declared missing in action following a July 6, 1971 crash near the border of Laos. The soldier was assigned to Mobile Launch Team 3 in the 5th Special Forces Group, which was based at Fort Bragg until moving to Fort Campbell, Kentucky in 1988. According to the DPAA, Carr was observer in an OV-10A aircraft supporting an 8-man Special Forces reconnaissance team. During a mission, the aircraft encountered bad weather, and shortly afterward, the ground team heard an explosion nearby that was believed to be an OV-10A. The Special Forces team was unable to find the crash site, and there is more to this article, but I don't have it. Let me see if this is it. No, I'm sorry, I don't have the rest.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Service in mind. If you have any questions, comments, call us at 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts today are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. And we are proud to serve you today. And of course, don't forget, help us help you. Get off your duff. Get out there and talk to people you buy things from at your stores, gas stations, where you have your oil change. Ask them for a door prize. An oil change would be lovely. And then just call Val here at the radio station at 910-672-1600 and she'll come pick it up. All you gotta do is ask. We need door prizes. Also tell everybody you know that plays golf to get out there this Saturday at Gatesford Golf and Country Club. That's Saturday, May the 12th. Registration's at 11 o'clock in the morning, tee off at 12. Lunch and dinner will be served and free beverages throughout the day. $500 cash first place overall. Second place will be a $250 Gatesford golf certificate for a foursome. A new car will be given away on 2 different holes for the first hole in one on each hole. That's a designated hole. That's a $400 value if only $250 per team, or over $100 value for only $65 per player. We need your help to help you. That's this Saturday at Gatesford Golf and Country Club. All they have to do is show up, pay the money, and play. At this time, I'd like to dedicate the reading of the obituaries to my dearly departed mom, Virginia Brantley Robertson, who spent her last 12 years non-ambulatory and unable to see, but would have loved the radio reading service. And to Drew Wotani, who was a reader and recruited me into the service, and of course to Harold F. Rickman, who founded the radio reading service here at Fayetteville State University. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Obsever for complete obituary information. Retired CSM Marion Douglas White, 59, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Roshancha Irene Atkins, 24, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Curtis Monroe, 58, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. In the Cape Fear region, Staff Sergeant Judy Avini Pleasance, 66, of 202 College Street, Clinton, Worley Funeral Home, Clinton. Minnie Hunter, 65, 1105 Cranston Road, Garner, Worley Funeral Home, Clinton. Joan Tyree Rogers, 39, of Clinton, Worley Funeral Home, Clinton. Mark Ellis, 51, of Maxton, S&L Funeral Home, Maxton. Judy Devane, 66, of Clinton, Worley Funeral Home, Clinton. Alice Smith Johnson, 70, of Garland Carter Funeral Home. Funerals today: Hare Ellen Ruth, 71, of Fayetteville, 2 p.m. Palestine Presbyterian Church, Burial Palestine Presbyterian Church Cemetery, Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. Cumberland County: Karen Lou Stevens. This is Karen Lou Stevens, 75, passed away Monday, May 7th at Cumberland Rehabilitation Center in Fayetteville. Funeral services will be held at 3 p.m. Thursday, May 10th, 2018 at Butler Funeral Home Chapel. Dr. Jeff Burkhart. Burial will follow at Fisher Cemetery. The family will receive friends at the funeral home from 2 p.m. to 2:45 Thursday. Services entrusted to Butler Funeral Home, 6535 Clinton Road, Stedman, North Carolina. Sarah Holmes Dixon. Mrs. Sarah Holmes Dixon, 92, of Fayetteville, passed away on Thursday, May 3rd. A graveside service will be held at 11 a.m. Thursday, May the 10th at Cross Creek Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to Hay Street United Methodist Church, 320 Hay Street, Fayetteville. Services entrusted to Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. Virginia Phillips Wingett. Virginia Phillips Wingett of 1032 Vesper Lane, Fayetteville, passed away May 3rd, 2018. Viewing Wednesday, May 9th, 1 to 8 p.m. at Dafford Funeral Home, 707 East Edgerton Street, Dunn. Funeral Thursday, 2 p.m. Sandy Grove Free Will Baptist Church, Wade Stedman Road in Wade, North Carolina. Dr. Paul W. Bowles Sr. Dr. Paul Weldon Bowles Sr., 93, who had resided at the North Carolina State Veterans Home during the last few years of his life, died early Friday morning. His family will receive friends on Saturday, May the 12th at 10:30 a.m. in the Fellowship Hall of Trinity United Methodist Church in Red Springs, with the service to follow in the sanctuary at 11 a.m. In lieu of flowers, memorials may be made to one of the following charitable organizations: Missionary Friends of Nicaragua, Reverend Dalma Cribb, 7535 Joe Brown Highway, South Chadron, North Carolina. Ruby Mae Evans. Ruby Mae Evans, 67, of Fayetteville, died Wednesday, May 2nd. Funeral Thursday, 1 p.m., Smith Temple Church of God in Christ. Viewing Wiseman Mortuary, Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial Lafayette Memorial Park, Wiseman Mortuary. Rebecca Lewis Cockman. Rebecca Lewis Cockman, 66, of Fayetteville, died Friday, May the 4th. Funeral Friday, 10:30 a.m., Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service Chapel. Visitation, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service. Thursday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Burial Lafayette Memorial Park, Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service in Crematory, Fayetteville. Wilhelmina McNair, 78, of Fayetteville, went to be with her Lord and Savior on Friday, May the 4th. The family will receive friends on Wednesday, May 9th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. A funeral service will be held at 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 10th at Cape Fear Conference B Center, Fayetteville Road, Rayford, North Carolina, with Pastor Benny L. Kelly officiating. Burial will follow at Rockfish Memorial Cemetery. Services entrusted to Rogers and Breeze Funeral Home. James G. Lucas Sr., retired Army Lieutenant Colonel James G. Lucas Sr., 79, passed away on Friday, May 4th in Cape Fear Valley Medical Center in Fayetteville. Funeral services will be held on Friday, May 11th at 2 p.m. in the chapel at Adcock Funeral Home. Burial will be rendering a full military honors will immediately follow in Lafayette Memorial Park in Fayetteville. A visitation for family and friends will be held prior to the service from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. James's condolences may be made at adcockfunerallandcrematory.com.
Okie dokie. Let's see what I've got for the region and elsewhere. Marion L. Farrington of Cameron, 81, passed away on Monday, May 7, 2018, in Kindred Hospital, Greensville, North Carolina. Funeral services will be held on Thursday, May 10, 2018, at 2 p.m., Countryside Presbyterian Church in Cameron. Interment will follow. Oh, it's spelled wrong. Internment will follow in the church cemetery. A visitation for family and friends will be held on Wednesday, May 9, 2018, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Adcock Funeral Home, Spring Lake, North Carolina. Condolences may be made at adcockfunerallandcrematory.com. Bernard Short, Lillington, 85, passed away in his residence on Thursday, May 3, 2018. A visitation for family and friends will be held from 5 to 7 p.m. on Friday, May 11, 2018 at Adcock Funeral Home in Spring Lake. Condolences may be made at adcockfuneral.com. Earl Harlan Fisher of Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, age 92, passed away peacefully on Tuesday, May 8, 2018, surrounded by his family. He was a veteran and born in Cleveland. He spent 31 years serving our country and retired as a sergeant major and defended our country, serving in World War II, the Korean conflict, and the Vietnam War. Oh my, yes, he is a hero. And memorial service will be held at 12 p.m. Friday, May 11, 2018 at Goldfinch Funeral Home Beach Chapel. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to the service. In lieu of flowers, the family requests memorial contributions be made in Earl's name to Wounded Warriors or the Breast Cancer Foundation. Sign online, guest book at www.goldfinchfuneralhome.com. Goldfinch Funeral Home Beach Chapel is in charge of the arrangements. Louise Carter Garland died Monday, May 7. Funeral Wednesday, 2 p.m. Garland Baptist Church. Viewing Garland Baptist Church Wednesday, 1 p.m. 2 p.m. Burial Garland Cemetery, Garland Funeral Home. Kermit Forrest of St. Paul's died Thursday, May 3rd, 2018. Funeral Thursday, 1 p.m. Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Viewing McCoy and Sons Mortuary. Wednesday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the church. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Burial Glover Crawford Cemetery, McCoy and Sons Mortuary. Sarah Louise Grayboy of Laurel Hill, 53 years of age, died Friday, May 4. Funeral Friday, 3 p.m. Richard Bowles Funeral Home visitation will be at the funeral home Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Burial, Laurenburg Memorial Park. Richard Bull's funeral service. As usual, I will read the Billy Graham column after reading the obituaries are read. This is from the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. Question. I'm so confused. My marriage ended over a year ago because of my husband's repeated unfaithfulness, and yet I've almost been overwhelmed with feelings of guilt ever since. I don't understand myself. Why do I feel this way? Answer. Several years ago, someone told me about an article they'd read claiming that divorce was a painless solution to most marriage difficulties, but it simply isn't true, as you've discovered. Even when divorce seems like the best solution, it almost always brings with it unexpected harvest of anger, loneliness, financial burdens, depression, or guilt. I don't know if your marriage could have been saved, but perhaps your letter will cause someone who may be thinking of divorce to rethink their plans and seek instead, with God's help, to keep their marriage together. Jesus said concerning marriage, therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Why do you feel guilty? Only you can answer this, of course, but perhaps you wonder if you could have done more to keep your marriage together. In any marriage, the husband and wife need to work together to make their home a place of peace and happiness. This, however, doesn't excuse your husband for what he did, which was very wrong. Don't blame yourself. Learn from the past, but don't be a prisoner to it. Instead, seek God's forgiveness for ways you might have failed and put your life and your future into Christ's hands. God loves you and your life and will never be the same once you realize this great truth. Then learn to walk with Him and be guided by Him every day. But the Bible says, blessed are those who walk in the light of your presence. And yes, well, I'm not very satisfied with the answer for a woman who was forced to seek a divorce because her husband was a serial adulterer. That's
Dear Abby, daughter's declaration of love rocks relationship with mom. My daughter recently informed me that she has met someone and the someone happens to be a woman. My reaction was, of course, shock and anger, although I have kind of suspected over the years that she is a lesbian. She is 43 and married for 10 years. She has 2 children and has been divorced for about 11 years now. She dated a few guys, but either had no luck with them or it didn't last. I don't know how to handle this because I'm against people being gay. I see it as unnatural and I think they have all issues. I don't treat gay people any different from anyone else, but I do keep them at a distance. Now I don't know how to proceed with our relationship. Please help. Shocked and angry mom. Dear shocked and angry, I'll try. While you may be angry because you have long suspected that your daughter might be a lesbian, you cannot now claim to be shocked. One reason gay people have issues, as you put it, is because they have to endure opposition and non-acceptance from the family members they love. Your 43-year-old daughter has spent years not being who she really is, possibly to please you, and now has realized she must be her authentic self. If you want any relationship at all with her, apologize and tell her you overreacted. Tell her you love her and explain that you may need time to fully accept this. Wish her well and hope that she forgives you. Dear Abby, I'm a 31-year-old mother of 2, a 3-year-old and a 2-month-old. My children had the same father. We co-parent, which has its ups and downs, more downs. We have been friends with benefits for 5 years, longer than we were a true couple. Recently I found out he has introduced our kids to another woman he's dating. I feel hurt because I have feelings for him that I can't let go of. How do I keep from falling apart from the loss of the only relationship I've known? I know it's over, but I can't help hoping we will get back together. Hopelessly in love. Dear hopelessly in love, because you must interact with him regularly, it may not be easy. A step in the right direction would be to stop stowing your own emotional life in the deep freezer, waiting for him to come back. Because it may take a dose of reality to regain control of your emotions. Ask him to level with you and why your relationship didn't lead to marriage. Something important was missing, or it would have happened when you had his first child. His response to your question should have given you clarity. Dear Abby, I'm a man in my mid-60s. Recently I had to put my elderly cat, Taffy, to sleep. I loved her. When the vet asked if you would like some of her ashes, I didn't want to take them home. Instead, I filled a jelly jar with her fur. She had long hair, and I had for a year been stuffing the fur I removed from her brush every night into a shoebox. As a memorial to my beloved Taffy, I added some of her favorite kibble to the hair jar, and it now sits on her favorite window sill. You be the judge, cute or creepy. Cat in Florida. Dear cat fancier, it is neither. You are crazy as a loon. It is the way you have chosen to cope with your painful loss, and you shouldn't be judged, or judge yourself harshly for it. My condolences for your loss. Poor old Taffy.
Well, I also suggest that if the shoebox still looks like a shoebox, wrap it up prettily. Wrap it in pretty paper, put a bow on it, and leave it where it is. If it gives you any solace, then that's just fine. Do as you please. Many people don't have anything but a pet. And when they lose it, it's just about as painful as losing someone that they had loved. Born today, here's your horoscope. Who are birthday people today, Ralph?
Birthdays today. Let's see, we have any birthdays today. Let's see here. The day is the 9th. And Lord have mercy, we have a slew of people.
Well, how wonderful.
Today.
Thank you for calling in.
Timmy Smith, Ula Dale, Mabel Williams, Archie Diamond, Betsy Gregson. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Timmy, Ula, Mabel, Archie, Betsy. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, very happy birthday to all of those individuals, and thank you for calling in with your birthday date. If you've never done that, please do that by calling the paper and telling them. Here's the Stella Wilder, born today. You are well-liked, hard-working, and inspired, especially when you make yourself available to all manner of opportunities. You are almost always the first to realize just what kind of success waits for you at the end of any given road. Taurus, any plans you hatch today have a greater chance of success if put into motion quickly. Delay can cause problems. I would have to agree that any plan that you actually start will probably turn out better, instead of the 50 plans you have that you're never going to touch. Gemini, you will want to do what you can to help a friend who finds him or herself in a difficult personal situation. Cancer, you may not be as enthusiastic today about something that only yesterday had you quite excited and ready to roll. This will pass. Leo, someone is focusing on you for all the wrong reasons, and though you are tempted to say something, the timing is probably not right for doing so. Virgo, you can greet someone in a way that is both welcoming and a warning, but only you know why any warning is necessary. In Libra, a problem not of your making affects you directly as the day opens, and you will have to deal with it continually until the day is done. Okay, you could sit on the couch and watch movies, you could hide under the bed, but just be careful. Scorpio, you can't believe that you have to deal with an issue that should never have arisen in the first place. Sagittarius, you may not be all that eager to go on a certain journey today, though you know you will certainly make many valuable discoveries. Capricorn, you can treat yourself to something special today and still be in the mood for more when a friend wants to share the experience with you. Well, I do need to go buy a burn barrel, but I wouldn't put that at the top of my list. Aquarius, you are in no hurry today, so take the time to look at things in a new way and see that in them values you never recognized before. Pisces, you can guide others toward the achievement of a certain goal today, but in the end, you may not be able to enjoy their triumphs with them. Aries, you'll want to be thoroughly prepared for what comes today, but in order to do that, you must anticipate with unusual accuracy. And also here are the letters to the Observer. 2 problems fixed. There is a possible solution for homeless panhandlers and litter. Cities and communities across the nation are implementing a clean slate program whereby one of the things done to hire homeless panhandlers as litter patrol to keep streets and other areas clean of trash. This type of program might just be a solution to address these 2 issues that seem to be continually plaguing Fayetteville and Cumberland County. Oh, I don't know, maybe 50, 60, 70 years, maybe longer. Litter and homelessness are just part of our culture here. Just need Cumberland County and the city of Fayetteville to determine feasibility of implementation. One thing is certain. Currently, there is definitely no shortage of litter or homeless panhandlers available to pick it up. This is from C.E. Newbegin of Fayetteville, and I couldn't agree more. I always used to see how, when I got near Fayetteville, if I'd been traveling, I noticed that I was getting close to Fayetteville when I saw litter all over the place, and that was my first clue that I was close. Here's another one near and dear to my heart. Taxpayers' burden. It appears the new baseball stadium is proceeding as planned. Ring the bells, City Council. I have no doubt this project will never produce the amount of revenue they project. These stadiums never do. Did anyone ask why the Houston Astros would want to come to Fayetteville? Probably because they couldn't sucker anyone else into building the stadium for them. In the end, the taxpayers will be holding the bag. This is from Wright Williams of Clinton. And since they've been holding the bag for the Bubba Dome for 25 years, I agree with you and hope I can get out of here before my taxes are raised because of the stadium.
Melania Trump trolls her husband. May be the most effective way to strike a blow against a Twitter bully is to be a death troll. In choosing and unveiling the child welfare platform she plans to champion, First Lady Melania Trump proves she has a well-developed sense of irony. I do believe children should be both seen and heard, she said on Monday in the White House Rose Garden. And it is our responsibility as adults to educate and remind them that when they are using their voices, whether verbally or online, they must use their words wisely and speak with respect and compassion. There is no reason to doubt either her sincerity or her commitment to fighting a very real problem for young people. But the First Lady managed to also draw everyone's attention to the fact that the worst imaginable role model for those values happened to be the man sitting right there in front of her. Every time she brings up the subject, she knows the commentary will certainly include references to her husband's abusive comments on social media and his tirades against his adversaries. I am well aware that people are skeptical of me discussing this topic, Melania Trump had acknowledged in March during a White House meeting with tech executives and internet safety advocates. But then again, who better to do it? Who else can shame Donald Trump? Who else can be not afford to attack or belittle at a time when the country is transfixed and disgusted by reports of his extramarital dalliances with a porn star and a playbait centerfold. When he has reached for her hand to photo opportunities, she has sometimes replied with a swat, knowing the camera as will bear evidence to her humiliation and her anger. And now she has done it by putting a spotlight on a cause guaranteed to remind people of his character flaws. First Lady is a role that comes with no job description. Each one has to figure it out for herself. Melania Trump, while a traditional presidential spouse in most respects, has refused to perform the most fundamental exercise that has been expected of all of them, to stand by her husband's side, beaming with admiration as a testament to her home life that is blissful and free of drama. Political marriages tend to be more complicated than most, but it's striking that the Trumps make so little effort to protect a more united front. The Post noted on the front page Monday that the same day Melania Trump unveiled her new initiative, that rejection of pretense could explain why her approval rating is now, CNN poll has jumped to 57%, up 10 percentage points since January, and close to 20 points higher than the president's numbers have been running. She is learning her power, and so is her husband.
Well, do you care if she and Trump hold hands all the time?
No.
You know, everybody knows Bill and Hillary fought like
cats and dogs.
Oh my gosh.
This is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried over the UNC Chapel Hill network. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services when making charitable donations. Please keep us in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions, just call us at 910-672-1600. Your radio hosts are
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson, and we are proud to serve you today. And once again, don't forget the Gates 4 Golf and Country Club 8th Annual Reading for the Blind and Visually Impaired Golf Tournament fundraiser this Saturday, May the 12th. Registration at 11, tee off at 12 noon. Lunch and dinner provided, and all the free beverages you can drink, as long as you don't fall out of the golf cart drinking those Coca-Colas. $500 cash prize for first place, a brand new car for the first hole-in one on 2 different holes. Special ladies division. We need your help. This is our only fundraiser. How can you help? You can sponsor a hole for $100. If you don't have $100 to spare, then you can go to where you buy your groceries or anything else and tell them you need a door prize for the radio reading tournament, golf tournament. Where you have your oil change, tell them to give you a free oil change certificate as a door prize. They can write it off on their taxes. Tell anyone you know that plays golf to go to Gates 4 Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Register. Hey. Play, win. We need your help.
Okay, here's from your library, and this looks kind of interesting. I don't know if I want to join, but it says, "Welcome to the Weird Tales Book Club." Goodness. This is written by Bryson Koff, and he is the Information Services Manager at the North Regional Library. The Weird Tales Book Club has just begun. Joins the roster of excellent book clubs already offered through your local public library locations. The idea for Weird Tales grew out of an interest in creating a book club to explore some of the unexplored corners of the genre and format. You may think of these books that you wouldn't necessarily choose, but you may find out that you absolutely need them in your life. Genres in any format, whether movies, television, or books, have changed rapidly the last few decades. You can't just have a romance story without a supernatural twist of attractive werewolf or a handsome vampire. Why have an action movie without a character who can crack jokes as well as break skulls? Weird Tales embraced these offbeat combinations of story types and will hopefully surprise and thrill you with our book picks. The book club is named Weird Tales in honor of the old fantasy and horror pulp magazine that was published continuously from 1923 to 1954 and intermittently until 2014. Each installment was packed with several stories and was the launching pad for genre greats like H.P. Lovecraft, Robert E. Howard, and Robert Bloch. While the book club will cover horror and fantasy, it will also include unusual tales in the mystery and thriller genre, and even romance. I will look for feedback. I will look for feedback on what we read and would love any and all ideas for what we should read next. Oh, I could say that you could read history, art, literature, English literature, or German, or Spanish, or any other literature you enjoy. Our next meeting is June 7 at 7:30 p.m. We meet at Panera Bread on Ramsey Street, and we will be reading Joe Hill's first book, Harp-Shaped Box. Oh, this book features a death metal musician trying to survive a heart-shaped box that he has acquired and which is possessed by the spirit of its dead former owner. Oh, gee, I can hardly wait for that one. One of the reasons I selected this book is that it relates to the theme of this year's summer reading program, Libraries Rock. So it seems appropriate to select a book that talks about a musician fighting for survival against a ghost. If you would like to know about the book club, please contact me at North Regional Library, 822-1998. To learn more about the other book clubs at the public library, go online to cumberland.lib, or live actually, lib.nc.us. Well, I don't know. The last book I finished, brand new book on the market, I was so disappointed in that I wish I could get my $25 back. But here's, okay, you have one there, Ralph?
How a Russian
Ooh,
shed lights on what to expect from Putin's fourth term.
That sounds good.
A joke I heard repeatedly during 2 weeks in Russia hints at what we should expect from Vladimir Putin's fourth term as president, which begins Monday. One Russian academic admitted this joke isn't really funny, but it does reveal the difficulties America will continue to face in dealing with Putin in the coming 6 years, compounded by Donald Trump's strange affection for the Russian strongman. Angry at new Western sanctions, the joke goes, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov tells a security official, bomb London. But my daughter is studying there, the security official complains. Okay, bomb New York. But my son is working there, cabinet minister interjects. Then bomb, finally, and snaps in frustration, referring to a Russian provincial city. Among the Russian intelligentsia, the meme bomb Voronza means Putin's reactions to sanctions are hurting ordinary Russians more than they do the West. On the surface, Moscow doesn't look as if it's hurting throughout the city. Western brands of clothing and furniture. A wall plaque of Lenin, not far from the Kremlin, sits next to a huge glass window splashed with Valentino label. Fancy restaurants and coffee houses are full, but the Russian ruble has slid as sanctions took hold, badly hurting ordinary Russians. A professor may make only several $100s a month, with salaries in the provinces far lower. During my stay, the Russian Duma proposed banning the import of Western medicines in retaliation to sanctions. Although many of those meds are essential for Russians. In retaliation for previous sanctions imposed by Congress, the Duma banned U.S. adoptions of Russian children. Truly perfect examples of bomb Voronza. Moreover, Putin's hostility to Facebook and Twitter, which he views as U.S. tools against authoritarianism, encourages those in the Kremlin who want to take full control of social media and ban foreign internet servers. For Putin, the internet is the enemy, says Alexander Bonhoff, editor-in-chief of the Carnegie RU. He has no internet account, never. That kind of thinking led to the Russian government's disastrous attempt last month to shut down the Telegram messaging app. The bomb Voronezh then also hits at the hypocrisy of top Kremlin officials and allies whose kids work and study in Western capitals. Ordinary Russians, academics, students, business people, those with relatives in America, must now wait for many months to get a U.S. visa. That's because of Russia's imposition of massive staff reductions at the American embassy, which were Moscow's response to last year's congressional sanctions over Russian election meddling in 2016. Putin's anger has grown at what he considers Western disrespect for Russia, sovereignty, and greatness. Putin is after something he can never get. Director of the Carnegie Moscow Center, he wants to be respected as a co-equal of the United States. There's a bit of obsession in his mind about the U.S. In his search for Russian greatness, the Russian leader has enmeshed his country in foreign ventures, Ukraine, cyber trolling, election meddling, that have boomeranged badly. The resulting Western sanctions, along with much lower energy prices, have fueled economic stagnation in Russia. The non-oil sectors of the economy are going down, says Andrew Mokovsky, director of the Economic Policy Program at Carnegie, Russia. Entrepreneurs, businessmen don't invest because no one knows what comes next. Banks don't loan. Many companies are sold to the state. The real problem, says Mokovsky, is the sanctions impact on Russian access to needed technologies for oil extraction, lasers, extraction of shale. This will impact Russia's future.
There's a place in, I don't know if it's in town or not. It's called Tractor Supply Company, and I don't see that it has an address. Have you ever heard of a Tractor Supply Company?
Oh, yes, it's out here on Rayford Road.
Oh, it's on Rayford Road. Okay.
Toward Rayford, down there by the last shopping center, where the ABC store is. It's across the street from there.
Oh, well, that's what we need. If we know it's near the ABC store, we've got it. Now, here is Heloise. Have you been holding your breath until you could hear from Heloise? I don't know if Heloise is in the paper every day. Do you happen to know? But here's Heloise. There's just no way around it. I make the worst pie crust on the planet. I saw one of your readers recently had a pie crust recipe, but I forgot to save it. Can you help me out with a decent recipe for a pie crust? Lucy W., Telluride, Colorado. Lucy, as a matter of fact, I have my mother's original recipe from 1959. It was always crisp, crunchy, and delicious. Be sure to sift the dry ingredients before measuring. Mix the flour and shortening with the salt, blend with fork until it's about the size of peas, and then add this chilled water. Here's the recipe. 2 1/4 cups flour, 3/4 cup shortening, 1 teaspoon salt, 5 tablespoons very cold water. Roll out between 2 sheets of wax paper, and it makes enough for 1 pie crust. You will find this and many other recipes in my book, In the Kitchen with Heloise. And there's another great pie crust recipe that has an egg and some vinegar in it. And maybe I'll write and ask her to submit that one. Dear Heloise, as a bachelor in his first apartment, I'm now cooking for myself. So please tell me the difference between simmering and steaming. Aren't they the same thing? This is from Henry D. of Portland, Oregon. Why didn't you ask any woman that you see in the supermarket? They would know. Henry, simmering means cooking in liquid. that's just below boiling. Bubbles form below the surface. Steaming means cooking over the boiling water using a colander or another type of perforated heat-resistant container to hold the food above the water. Heloise. Donate food. Dear Heloise, as a volunteer at a food bank, I'd like to make a plea for donations of canned goods. Did you know that many poor people now rely on a food bank to help feed themselves and their families? In fact, about 49 million people in this country find it difficult to put food on their tables. Out of every 6 people, at least one person faces hunger every day. Well, that's just horrible. Please donate what you can to your local food bank. Ann R. Fairmont, West Virginia. Certainly true. Dear Heloise, since my families all live across the country, I fly home often. I never eat airline food, but instead take my own locale snacks, which are much healthier, such as bananas, a small plastic bag of grapes, some fat-free crackers or pretzels, and orange or grapefruit slices. It's more filling than a bag of nuts offered on the plane. Jack M. from Cape Coral, Florida. Save these crisps. Dear Heloise, you can freeze potato chips. I just made that discovery when my brother and I were watching a movie and munching on chips. We had half a bag left, so I closed it up and placed the bag in the freezer. 3 days later, they were still very fresh. Brian, O''M from Pascagoula, Mississippi. Yeah, I guess that'd be best down there in Mississippi with all that humidity. Net bags. Dear Heloise, I save the plastic net bags when I buy onions, potatoes, and carrots. They are very strong. When I go to the grocery store, I fill them with produce such as tomatoes, zucchini, lettuce, or apples. They're lightweight, and I can recycle them several times. You know, that's not a bad idea, and for you listeners who are crafty, and I mean good at making things with your hands, not devious. If you saved those bags, you could weave them together and have a fantastic carry-all, and you might be even able to sell them. I would buy one, since if I touch anything, I break it. And, you know, some people don't have the skills. Okay, Ralph, how are we doing here?
Doing great. A time for forgiveness, reconciliation. What a hullabaloo Fayetteville has experienced for the past month or so concerning the behavior of one of our city councilmen. With Tyrone Williams' resignation, the dust may be settled, for at least settling. There still is bound to be plenty of frustration, anger, and recriminations to come. But I suggest it is time for the community to forgive, reconcile, and move on. In a diverse, dynamic, and hyper-connected world, thoughtful collaboration efforts to bring people to forgive and reconcile are essential for the well-being of everyone. It is imperative for people to understand the power of forgiveness and reconciliation. There are challenges and limits as people work together across boundaries. This is true whether it involves businesses being socially responsible, political leaders navigating crisis, workers in technologically enhanced environments, or our community leaders dealing with complicated situations. The need for forgiveness and reconciliation publicly and privately must be a priority. So like the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace, a change is needed in the community as we deal with the aftermath of the councilman's tenure. Everyone is responsible and should be held accountable to establish forgiveness and reconciliation through collaborative leadership at all levels. Too often people want others to resolve their conflicts. Carol S. Pearson, author of The Hero Within, posted that we will not be able to solve the great political, social, and philosophical problems of our time if so many of us persisted in seeing the hero as out there or up there beyond ourselves. As citizens, we must work together for the good of all. The bottom line is that the complex issues created by Williams's activities and subsequent resignation has led to many conflicts we now must address through collaboratively practicing forgiveness and reconciliation. If we work and serve together toward a common vision, then we will be able to forgive and reconcile to achieve our goals, personal and public. How can we as citizens find forgiveness and reconciliation? First, it is necessary to recognize and accept the truth of what Joyce Hawker and William Wilmot write in interpersonal conflict. We cannot force another person to participate in conversations of forgiveness and reconciliation. However, everyone brings a gift to the table, forgiveness and reconciliation. The gift involves a courageous interpersonal communication approach. This is from Willis M. Watt.
Okay, and here's it's not just Gen X, and it's massive. Oh, get ready. Keep your ears open. And think if you think that your local authorities are taking care of you. It isn't just a little bit of pollution, and it isn't under control, not even close. The scope is stunning. Legal documents filed this week put an entirely new light on the levels of pollution pouring out of the chemical plant just south of Fayetteville on the Cumberland-Bladen County line, and it is massive. The Southern Environmental Law Center, acting on behalf of the Cape Fear River Watch, apparently they've been doing a very bad job, this week filed a request for a declaratory ruling by the State Department of Environmental Quality that will immediately halt all emissions of Gen X and related compounds into the air, land, and water. I hope you know, at least, that this is not only going into the water, it's in the air, it's in the water, inside the houses of the people nearby, in their gardens, on their clothing that's kept in closets. The Law Center also filed notice that it intends to sue Chemours, the DuPont spin-off company that operates the Fayetteville Works, for violations of the Federal Clean Water Act and the and the extent of the pollution coming from the property that sits between North Carolina 87 and the Cape Fear River. They make it clear that we're not just looking at a Gen X problem, but rather at a broad array of chemicals within the Gen X family of perfluorinated compounds that are used or created at the Fayetteville Works. The DEQ, according to the legal papers, has found at least 33 perfluoroalkyl polyfluoroalkyl substances, collectively referred to as PFAS, emitting and discharged from the plant. All you really need to know is that your government is allowing you to be poisoned. The request for declaratory ruling observes that DEQ was alarmed to discover that Gen X compounds are emitted at a rate of over 2,000 pounds a year, but other PFAS compounds are emitted at severely higher rates. The emissions of 2015 are cited as the highest so far when Chemours emitted over 125,000 pounds of PFAS compounds into the air. That's nearly 63 tons of PFAS chemicals, all likely harmful to human health, pumped into the air and distributed for miles around the plant by the winds. Through spills, atmospheric dispersion, and dumping of effluent, the stuff has worked its way into the water table. And again, the public attention on Gen X has missed the point. Some related compounds are present in the water table at far greater concentrations. The request for declaratory ruling notes that the DEQ's complaint against Chemours, filed in Bladen County Superior Court, expresses deep concern that Gen X has been found in concentrations of several million parts per trillion, one of which has been found at levels of up to 8,174, 250 ppt. Chemours after over the last 4 decades. Dear listeners, that's 40 years of our fearless leaders allowing us to be poisoned and put the health risk of hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians at risk. The chemicals, I don't know if they mean creating chemicals, there's some misprint here, into the environment every day, even if DEQ's enforcement actions are successful. Important sources of air and water pollution would go unaddressed. So far, most of the public division has been about all the emerging contaminations in the FAS family ties that are being emitted from the Fayetteville Works. These substances are in the air, in the groundwater, in the Cape Fear River, and in the water supply of hundreds of thousands of North Carolina residents. Most of the chemicals haven't been tested to determine their impact on human health, but those that have been tested on animals have been found to cause cancer, other serious health disruptions. Ingesting them over a prolonged period of time likely to be dangerous, and the state has a legal and moral obligation to protect the health and safety of its residents. Gee, did somebody write that down somewhere? No matter how badly the General Assembly has gutted the DEQ's funding and authority, and it surely has, the agency must act promptly to stop the ongoing emissions from the Fayetteville Works. Anything less is unacceptable and should be unthinkable. That's what I've thought all along. I just didn't know it was for 40 years. Think of the hundreds of people that have gotten paid under the table for allowing this pollution of the state of North Carolina and the people who live near the rivers. I don't know why people aren't riding in the streets and driving out to Chemours, telling our public officials they've had it. It makes me so upset. I just almost unbelievable. Except, oh well, as I always say, it's the mountains. There's some places in the mountains which are very highly polluted as well. So be careful when you go to breathe deeply in our mountains. Here's some wonderful sales at Aldi. Actually, eating local produce should be a danger to your health. With all the pig, swine element in the air, and Chemours poisoning us for 40. Well, that's DuPont. But don't believe for a minute that there are not plenty of people, possibly hundreds of people, that knew about this egregious poisoning of our waters and land and air. I know people in Fayetteville are apathetic, but you are being poisoned. Here's California strawberries at $1.49 per pound. Actually, it's in a package. $3.99 for a Florida seedless watermelon. California medjool dates $3.99 for a 16-ounce packages, and blueberries at $2.49 per pint. Whole white mushrooms at $79 per package of 8 ounces. $1.69 for asparagus. $7.99 for a beautiful looking exquisite collection Côte de Provence Rosé. Very light peachy strawberry color. It says it goes well with fish and salads. Vases of flowers, but they are $14.99 and $9.99. I guess that's for Mother's Day. Fresh Atlantic salmon on a cedar plank. Fresh USA Choice beef filet mignon per pound, $12.99. Fresh family pack boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I think at $2.99 per pound. And available while quantities last. Oh, no, that's the boneless chicken thighs are $1.69 per pound. And the thick cut boneless pork chop is $2.99 per pound. Now we have also from Aldi's Black Angus burgers, 2 pounds frozen, $5.99. Beef franks, and 85 cents for the burgers and hot dogs. And $1.95 for low-fat ice cream, 48 ounces frozen, and $3.99 from Sunday Shop ice cream. Let's see, half pork loin, $1.89 per pound. Fresh Angus choice beef, $4.29 per pound. Fresh 90% lean ground sirloin, $4.19 per pound. And here's one that's all kinds of outdoor portable tables, air beds, $6.99. Portable pump, $24.99. Camping cot, looks a lot like an army cot, $79.99 for a performance hard-sided cooler that keeps ice for days. Easy to carry with padded and folding aluminum handle. Quick drain system. Features never lose drain plug. And there are a lot of items for babies. Safety gates, playthings.
This concludes our reading of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts have been
Marty Baldwin
and Ralph Walkie Robertson. For our radio listeners, we will now join the Raleigh Network for additional programs. Thank you guys and our YouTube listeners for tuning in. We've enjoyed being with you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day.
I made it.
Oh!
Anyway.
Have a lovely week, Marty.
Oh, thank you so much.
See you next week.
I'll try real hard to be here.
Oh. Sure.